Imposter syndrome is the gap between your inward and outward success. Imposter syndrome is the gap between your outward and your inward success. Let's freaking go. That's the intro. Welcome back. If you're new here, my name's Jess, and every single day on this channel, we study mindset and we study motivation and we work on our goals and our habits so that we can become the best versions of ourselves. And I say we repeatedly because it's not just you. We're in this together. It's not that I am the expert and the master and I know all the secrets and it's like, you just better shut up and listen to me. I'm on this journey too. We're learning and growing together. And I think that is such a beautiful thing. So without further ado, let's get into Artiste. Jessica is back. Honestly, obviously, every time I record a daily, they're not scripted, but I will go back and rewatch every single video to see how can I improve my teaching? How can I be more engaging? How can I keep you like excited? How can I explain concepts more clearly? This is just the process of getting 1% better every day, is reviewing and reflecting. So I think that these graphs are so helpful, the visuals. So I'm gonna keep doing visuals in my little sketchbook. What was the last one we did? Sometimes you don't need the visuals, but sometimes you do, like when we studied, oopsies, I skipped a page. Like when we studied growth happening in the dark. Remember this one? When we studied changing your language, because change your language, change your life. When we studied the iceberg model, when we studied the beta model of behavior change. Remember this, so the drawings are kind of getting more sophisticated, you know? Anyways, if you're like, what are all of those? So like I said, I share daily on this channel. You can go back and watch those videos, okay? Whatever works for you. If 10 minutes a day is great, awesome. And if binging like once a week and catching up and doing an hour once a week works better, do that. Like, you're learning, it's your journey. Okay. Inward versus outward success. So in order to cover imposter syndrome, why it happens and how to get over it, we have to cover inward versus outward success first. Let me explain and then I will draw the graphs. Outward success, as the name implies, is extrinsic, okay? Extrinsic, it is outside of yourself. That is awards, that is trophies, that is certificates or certifications, that are degrees, that is a degree. Any kind of outward accomplishment, a job title, again, external, right? That is your outward success. That is how other people perceive how successful you are, right? Your inward success is how successful you feel. This is how you feel about yourself, okay? Do you feel successful? Do you feel worthy and deserving of everything that you have accomplished? And do you feel worthy and deserving of the goals that you want to accomplish, right? Your future accomplishments. This is a mindset and this is a feeling. Inward success is intrinsic. So outward success is based on perception. Inward success is based on feeling or self-worth. Now, imposter syndrome occurs when there is a gap between your outward success and your inward success. So your accomplishments outside of you are high, right? High outward success, but you don't feel deserving or worthy of them. You feel you're at this level, right? But you're actually in reality, in the outside world, in this level, okay? This is your internal world or the created world. This is your external world or the reported world. So what other people would describe is. And if you've experienced imposter syndrome, it feels like, and believe me, I know because I have been there, imposter syndrome feels like, who am I to do this? Who am I to have this? It must have just been luck. There's no way this is because, again, it was luck. It's not because of my hard work or my accomplishments or my innate talent. It's just that I was in the right place at the right time. It is feeling embarrassed to share about your wins, right? Hiding your accomplishments. It is feeling like if you share about what's going well, what's successful in your life, it's going to take away from other people's success, which is not true. And most of these narratives, these are things that we tell ourselves that hold ourselves back. And I know this because I have been there. I experienced the most debilitating imposter syndrome. I won this big entrance scholarship when I got into university. And I felt so unworthy of it. so undeserving. I was so embarrassed. It was a fear of attention. It was a fear of what will other people think of me. It was a fear of feeling unworthy. And the thing about worth is you are the only person that can make yourself feel worthy. You are the only person that can make yourself feel worthy. Other people can try to make you feel more worthy or make you feel less worthy, which is shitty, but you are the only person in control of the ultimate result. Because if you have such a strong sense of belief, of unshakable confidence in self-worth, other people trying to tell you that you're not worthy of something, you'll look at that and go, this says a lot more about you than it does about me. But when we don't have that unshakable confidence, then we're like, maybe they're right. Maybe I don't. And we spiral. And we don't want to spiral. So I'm going to draw this out on graphs for you. I have them prepped in my notebook. So I'm copying from my notebook there, but we got to do it with the Sharpie, and I want to make sure that these graphs are actually good. So 4 minutes left, stay with me. These graphs, we're going to talk about reality, the ideal world and reality, as well as the gap of imposter syndrome. So this is, oopsies. If this is imposter syndrome. Your outward success looks like this. We're going to put an O for outward, okay? And say your inward success. So maybe you start the business or you start the social media and the growth starts to really accelerate faster than what you're used to. So say you're on like this trajectory and it's going, but it's not going up enough. Do you see that? This gap here, that is imposter syndrome. Does this make sense? Is this landing? Do you see what I mean? That is the gap. And now let's look at the opposite. So what happens? Internal success. This, I'm going to scooch in. This comes from your mindset. This is your self-image, your self-worth, what you believe to be true about yourself. So let's say you really start to work on your mindset, okay? And you're here and you're like, you know what? Actually, I deserve the world. I'm going to set bigger goals. I'm going to start believing I deserve them. I'm going to change my actions and my self-concept. So your inward success is going up. And your outward success, let's say you started with imposter syndrome. So your outward success was here, right? So we're zooming out. And now what's going to happen is your mindset catches up, right? So now we've healed the imposter syndrome. You see that? Imposter syndrome. And now we're still working on our mindset. We're growing that self-belief. So there's going to be a point in time when your outward success no longer matches your inward success. It hasn't caught up, right? Sorry guys. And then eventually, by the laws of nature, it will catch up, okay? So this gap, when your goals, your inward success, right? Your concept of yourself is bigger than the results in the physical. This is the dark. This is where growth is happening. And this is what many people refer to as Delulu, okay? When you're like, who do you think you are to have that? But the reality is your mindset needs to be at least at the same level as, if not ahead of your goals. This is the growth happening in the dark, right? This is where you've set a goal and it hasn't come to fruition yet. And eventually it does. Now, in an ideal world, okay? I need like a chalkboard or something. In an ideal world, you would be working on your mindset and you would be working physically. Oopsies. So your inward and outward success would be going up together, right? Stay with me. But we know this is not reality because growth is not linear. It just doesn't happen like this. ideal. That's not real. In reality, the goal, this is so good. Stay with me. You have your inward and your outward success, okay? So you start to work on your mindset. And then your things catch up and it's going like this. And then you doubt yourself a little bit and then it goes up and down, right? This is, like they say, like success is not linear. So this is what it's going to look like. It is a balance of your outward and your inward. And it is constantly flip-flopping, right? You're constantly like, okay, I'm going to work on my mindset. The mindset starts to get ahead. And then maybe you have this burst of growth that you weren't expecting. And that would be an example. In reality, a TikTok goes viral, right? And all of a sudden you have all this outward success and you're like, shoot, instead of going here to the imposter syndrome, you're like, I'm going to catch it up, right? And then you're like, wait, maybe every TikTok can go, maybe every TikTok can have 10,000 views. But then we're in the land of Delulu. And Delulu's not bad, okay? This is just the land of Delulu when you're like, every TikTok is not going to have, every TikTok of mine has 10,000 views. You see how we're using the present tense to call in that goal. That's law of attraction. So it sounds a little Delulu because you're like, every TikTok of mine has 10,000 views. That is who I am. That is what I deserve. And the algorithm hasn't quite caught up to that yet. So we don't see it yet. And this is the process where you're both going like this, like waves. And they're, catching up to each other constantly and constantly evolving. So we think that success is going to look like this. We think mindset work is going to look like this. It's straight up and to the right, but that's not true. It is actually graphs that go up and down, up and down, up and down. And you'll take a step forward and then maybe you take a step back. And then you're like, okay, mindset, solid. And then like, doubt, right? This is what it looks like. Inward versus outward success. And the last final note I will say on imposter syndrome. If you have struggled with imposter syndrome in the past, notice my language. If you have struggled with it in the past, okay, put it in your past, put it in the rearview mirror. If you have struggled with imposter syndrome in the past, no more. Because the person with your goal would not have imposter syndrome. The best version of yourself would not have imposter syndrome. Honestly, I need you to get mad. I need you to be disgusted. Imposter syndrome is so cringy. It's cringy. It's embarrassing. Who does that? Who achieves all these amazing things and then talks themselves out of it and then doubts themselves and then doesn't feel worthy? You need to get mad. You need to literally be like, it is so, in the year of 2024, there is just no chance that imposter syndrome is entering my life because it is entirely 100% in my control and is entirely 100% fixable. So it's just like literally be like disgusted. It's cringe. Like, ew, who has, no, that is not, I could never, the person with my goal could never not think that they deserve it. The best version of myself could never feel unworthy of the goals that I already set for the work that I already did. Don't you get it? You already have it. You already have the outward success. So you need to change your self-concept to match it. I need you to get like literally, ew, we don't do imposter syndrome anymore. And you know what? Maybe that approach worked. Maybe you're like, okay, yes, fired up, like, ew, who are we to have imposter syndrome? Gross, ick. Like literally catch the ick from imposter syndrome, okay? If you're like, I'm not exactly with your train, this is a little too like Gen Z for me. Like, what are you talking about catching the ick from imposter syndrome and like Delulu's a Salulu? You know what, maybe my channel is just not for you. Take whatever you can from today. I hope that solution works for you. And you know what, maybe if catching the ick and like being disgusted by, maybe you need a softer approach, then like we could do a softer approach on a different day. This is just one solution of many because you're so much better. Like you do not deserve to have imposter syndrome. You are amazing. And any accomplishment that you have, yes, luck is a factor, but so is your hard work. Yes, luck is a factor, but so is your hard work. So make sure you are equally attributing your successes to luck and hard work, just the same way that you are equally attributing your failures and mistakes to luck as hard work. See the difference? Okay, that's way over time. I hope you really enjoyed this. I hope this was helpful. And as always, if you made it through the whole thing, leave a comment because if not, that's icky. Okay, see you tomorrow.